Today we are going to talk about cities and women. Why is it important? Because there are many challenges around the globe for women in cities, especially in big cities, mega cities, etc. And they can be safety issues, it can be transportation issues, public spaces. So today we have two very important speakers with us who will talk about Madrid and also about Vienna.
So today the new technologies can help us to create a most equal cities. This means creating solutions that take into account the specific needs of women, such as apps for personal security of services that supports working mothers and entrepreneurs. We are committed to eliminating any gender biases in our algorithms and data collections, ensuring that women and girls have the same opportunities. New technologies can be powerful tools for promoting gender equality in cities. Obviously, my sector, we can improve urban safety using, for example, a smart lighting system in public areas in order to improve women's safety in cities, and apps that allows location sharing with family or friends can also contribute to safer environment. Social networks and online voting platforms facilitate women's participation in political and community processes, helping to ensure that their voice, their needs, our needs, and opinions are considered in decision-making.
I want to ask Ursula about the gender mainstreaming. What does it mean? How do you bring this gender lens to everything you do in Vienna?
Well, thank you for having me here. This is really a great pleasure, and thank you especially to Irene, who made everything to convince me to come here. In Vienna, we want that every woman can lead an independent life, an economic independent life, and a safe life. And to do so, as a city government, as a city administration, what you have to do is to take a multidimensional approach. And in this respect, gender mainstreaming, a strategy that comes from the UN actually, and the development policies and the EU, makes it quite clear. You have to keep in mind that gender differences and gender inequalities may happen everywhere. So when you think of a city, what can a city do? Well, a city provides the built environment, which is crucial for the way you go through the city. As you said, it's mobility. Do you have access in the same way as men to public transport? Do you have access to streets and parks and leisure infrastructure in the same way? Well, officially, yes. Legally, yes. But then think of all the invisible barriers you have to face, because there is sexual harassment, which is even in a great city like Vienna, it's taken place, you know, it's always and everywhere, and you have to be aware of that. And then, of course, you provide housing. There's an immediate need for social and affordable housing, especially for women and other vulnerable groups. What else do you need? You mentioned it, it's the health system. And there is a big need to have a differentiated lens on the health system from a women's and a man's perspective. And also, when I talk about safety, what you need is safe places for women. Whenever you get in troubles, there have to be enough places in safe houses. And so Vienna is offering 5 places for women really to be safe, and 1 especially for girls. So the thing is, it's education, it's investing money in the right things, and it's important really to make the city a safe place for women. And so to do so, you have to have gender budgeting in place. You do not only have to have the backing of the politicians and the senior management, but you have to do gender budgeting, which means that whenever one of our city departments is spending money, once a year at least, they have to think, the way I spend the money, do I get my target groups? Do I reach the groups I want to reach? And this means gender differentiated data, as we already mentioned. It's utmost important to get gender differentiated data, which seems quite clear, but is rather difficult to achieve sometimes. And you have to analyze it in that way, and you have then to think, what can I do in case I discriminate against women? And what can I do to really contribute to change the city, because the whole thing is, and I'd like to quote here Iris Bonet, you might maybe know her, she is a very well-renowned behavioral economist at Harvard, and she said the whole thing about gender mainstreaming is fix the system, not the people.